Hi, it's Heather again, and this is the first part of our work around disconnection to connection. And this particular series will focus for you on understanding kind of where you are now around the area that you're feeling disconnected to. So, just to give an introduction to people that haven't seen the intro, which is in my last video yesterday, but basically, this is about helping you find a better connection with a particular area of your life that maybe you've not felt connection with for a while, for years. It could be, since the pandemic. So it doesn't matter kind of when that disconnection happened. The key thing is helping you today to understand where it is you're feeling disconnected and really anchoring you in what's going on with that. So, to give you some kind of pointers, I guess, to really consider where it might be that you're feeling a disconnect to. As I said in the introduction video, I had a disconnect because of the story I told myself around accepting and receiving support and asking for help. So, I didn't have the ability to do that. So that's one example, but it could span into so many different areas of your life where you're feeling a disconnect. So if we group it in topics, it could be relationships. You could feel a disconnect to your partner, you could feel a disconnect to your friends, your family, even your work colleagues, and even your children right now, because there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't normally have to get involved with. So, consider like, okay, how are these things doing in my life from a relationship perspective? And I'll talk about colleagues particularly because you're not in the office with them, or generally people aren't actually all back in the office. So people are feeling a little bit disconnected and very unseen and unheard because they're not actually in the office interacting with people. So, that could be an area that you're feeling a disconnect with. But then we could look at like other things like health and diet. So there'll be certain messages that maybe you've put in place that will stop you from having a connection to looking after yourself, basically, because that's what eating the right food is, and being active and healthy and kind of looking after our well-being and looking after ourselves really means. So, you could be feeling a disconnect to looking after yourself in some way or another. And there'll be a message that you've maybe sent yourself a long time ago that potentially says this food's going to make me feel better. If I have something that's not that good for me, I'm still going to make me feel better and comfortable, or it's going to allow me to kind of escape or not think about anything else other than eating this amazing burger, for example. So you could feel a disconnect because of that messaging. There could be a disconnect around, I'm not beautiful, so there's no point in making an effort to look after myself. When actually it's counterintuitive. Now I talk about it, it might help you think about that. So, could that be an area that you're feeling a disconnect from? The other things could be like learning or self-improvement. So a good example is as I posted yesterday actually on Facebook, I really came away from school with hardly any qualifications. And I was also kicked out of legal executive college work because I was really awful at audio typing because I can't spell for toffee, basically. So, there was some specific messaging that said to me at the time, like, education just isn't your thing. You're not going to be academic and you're not going to be academically clever. So what's the point of trying? So I completely disconnected from even considering learning again something or retraining in something until I received support from a coach at 35, and that messaging came through as, well, actually I have got the capacity to learn, but actually learn things that I want to learn rather than what I'm being told I should be good at or I should be clever at. And it all manifested into, I didn't feel good enough to even learn. So it might be that you're feeling a disconnect in terms of bettering yourself, because some messaging, significant messaging was set up before that stopped you even considering looking at kind of retraining or learning something new. The other area, I guess, is probably your career, so your life choice around work and career. You could well be feeling a disconnect to, you know, is this job really like fulfilling me, you know, and am I really growing in this position, or am I really gaining from this organization what I need right now? And specific messaging around that could be, well, I'm better off in a job because it's security and at least I'm getting paid. And that's all well and good if you're in certain circumstances where you need to provide and be responsible. But what it does to you as a person in terms of how you behave and kind of how everyone else experiences you when you're kind of stuffing yourself into something that doesn't really make you happy, can really be damaging to you and other people around you. So consider, you know, is that an area maybe you're feeling a disconnect from? You know, have you found the right thing to do from a kind of work life focus? So those are just some examples, and there will be others, and I would love to hear, you know, what comes up for you when you think about what area of your life you're just feeling a disconnect from. You know, a big one that overarches, I guess, all the things I've talked about already, it would be, you know, connection to ourselves, really. You know, what do we need right now for us to feel good? And I know that I posted about, you know, what's keeping me sane throughout lockdown, even though I live on my own, which I hope people found useful, to really think about, okay, well, what can I do to look after myself first, and know that when I do that, everything else around me kind of falls into place. So, you know, and that's a wide open space, and definitely something that I'd love to explore with you in more detail around the connections to your feelings and emotions and kind of what you do to manage that. But going back to the original question, and the area that I want you to focus on today is getting an understanding and a grounding and an anchoring into, okay, what's going on with you right now? What's the area of your life that you want to feel more connected to? And, you know, remove that feeling of, you know, well, it's not happening, so I'm just going to try and forget about it and stuff it away and not really talk about it and just ignore it and hope it'll go away. I'm hoping that when you work through these series, I know when you work through these series with me and we go on this journey together, that once we've anchored you in the particular area that you want to work on, then as the series unfolds, you'll be able to get more connected to that particular area of your life and make a difference to your energy levels, how you deal with challenges, how you show up in terms of how people experience you, make a difference to even how you behave, what type of leader you are. So there's loads of things that will make a difference too. So there you go. That's your first piece of kind of reflection, I guess, and an area for you to work on today. I look forward to seeing you in the next session tomorrow. And good luck, and shout and holler if you're really not sure what it is that you want us to focus on, because I'm more than happy to work it through with you. Take it easy. Have a good Friday.